Well, hello there. Welcome to a sunny Saturday morning on the west coast of Ireland. It's looking good. There's a few grey clouds in the sky, but I think it's going to be a nice day. Please God. Okay, so let's give a little bit of a run through of what's happened this week and what I think we're lining up for next week. I think it's going to be an exciting week next week. But hey, let's take it one step at a time there and slow down. All right, let's get in here. This is euro dollar. As per usual, we'll start here. Now, this little section here has caused a little bit of trouble of late. I think you can pretty much just at a glance call it a correction without being, you're not going too far into the weeds by doing that. The immediate start of it there, I thought that was a complete three waves there, and it was. And then we got a little bit of a decline, which was kind of a false signal, really. And then we ended up the week by tracing out another possible three-wave pattern up to the tide at the top there. So what has happened here basically is a triple combination. So the market went nowhere for a long time, since the 26th, I think, of October through. So the whole week basically just went went absolutely nowhere. I think we have completed a fourth wave at a very minor degree here within wave 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, very long drawn out fourth wave. And on Friday, we got the first glimpse of a kind of a shift back into trend here with an impulsive move down. Hopefully that will move in 5 waves to complete wave 3. I was saying there on Friday that, well, the preferable path from here would be for a 5-wave pattern into the lower trend line. That support there, that target around 1450 there. But the minimum target would be a break of 115.74 here, support, and that would at least fulfill, let's say, the desire for a 5-wave pattern in wave 3. I'm shifting my weight towards the lower target here because of this long drawn out correction. I think we'll get the kind of a snapback reaction, and we saw the start of that on Friday. So on Monday, if we get a break of support on Monday, I think a clear break. So let's say we travel into low 115s on Monday. Then we're looking at definitely 114.50 to complete, and maybe even a break of that declining trend channel there. So that would be the outlook for the possibility and the outlook for euro dollar next week. At that point, early next week, we'll have 5 waves down in wave 3. We'll look for a correction. This support will turn to resistance, will change to resistance, so that kind of becomes support resistance line. And that will then be the key resistance then for the pattern going forward. Then we'll have a possible little correction in wave 4, wave 4 pink, and then a further decline into the lower target, or the initial target for the completion of the larger pattern. We go to the 4-hour chart. The larger pattern, 1, 2, wave 3, 4, and 5. Or sorry, 1, 2, and wave 3 is into support around 112. So I had on the short-term chart, I've marked there 112.50. That gives us the Fibonacci extension of wave 1 into a target of wave 3. And now I'm rambling, so I'll cut this one short. Suffice to say, next week we should see a completion of a 5-wave pattern in wave 3 brown, and that's the outlook for the week. Further declines, and at that point then we'll see if we get a kind of corrective rally in wave 4 brown. So next week euro dollars, further declines. I should have just left it at that. I should have just said next week euro dollar, further declines, and left it at that. Okay, so pound dollar. All right, pound dollar has worked out okay so far. we had this large correction in wave 2, and that's what we've been tracking over the last week, or what was it? Sorry, that's what we've been tracking over the last month at this stage. But the completion we've been tracking over the last week, and it's worked out quite well. We had that nice 5-wave rally into initial resistance, which was at I think that was the 50% retracement level again. Yeah, 133. We had a target above 133. Was it 133.80? No, 133. Let's see where get a price on that. 133.35. So 133.40 or something. And it failed at that target. So then we were thinking that maybe it was the pattern was a running flat, which they're not uncommon. So yeah, we went with that, and we got that confirmed then on Thursday and Friday. So we got a nice 5-wave decline in a possible wave 1. So yeah, clean that up. Clean up your room. There we go. All right, so now what we're left with is 3 waves in wave 2 and a possible beginning of an elliott wave signal here, which should lead into wave 3 brown to the downside. So we have 1 complete, wave 1 from the top, wave 2 complete, and we may well be spilling into wave 3 down. So obviously that's the outlook for the next couple of weeks. Initially next week, I want to see a completion of this wave 1-2 pattern. So we have wave 1 complete, probably, I think, into the low there. It would have been nice if it had broken support there at 130.25. That would kind of give it an extra boost. But so far we've had a possible A, B, and we're expecting a wave C into 131.70. That's like the 50% retracement level. So so from Monday and kind of Tuesday, we're looking at hopefully a completion of this 1-2 pattern to the downside, and then a further break of support again to bring us into, which would be wave 3 pink of wave 3 brown. So the possibility and the probability of kind of a large and rapid breakdown of the price pattern back into the downtrend is quite high at this stage. So that's what we'll be tracking over the next week or so. Do we get, and over the next few days, sorry, do we get this completion of another elliott wave signal in wave 3 brown? And do we get a turn down, break of support, and an acceleration to the downside, basically? Now, let's move on to dollar yen. Now, this one, wave count has worked out quite well this week. I'm just kind of skeptical about this initial 1-2 here to the upside, and I'll talk about that after I have a sup of coffee. All right. So we had a nice impulse move up off the wave 2 low here. So that's given a good hat tip towards a further rally to come in wave 3. So initially on Thursday and Friday we had this nice corrective decline into a nice 50% retracement of the previous wave 1. So wave 2 looked complete, but the rise off that low on Friday there looks to be in 3 waves, and again Friday evening it retraced part of the rally. So unless we're getting a very minor sequence of smaller 1-2 waves within the wave pattern, so maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 5 type of thing. Unless that's what's happening, I'm skeptical, and I may be of the opinion that excuse me, I think I might be of the opinion that the wave 2 is going to extend And at this stage, it looks like it might be an expanded flat. 3 waves down, I'll show you that. 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and probably 5 waves down into wave 2 pink. Again, support here at 113.50 looks like a decent target for that completion of wave 2. But so that would be kind of my outlook for Monday. A decline in a possible C wave of wave 2 pink, and then we'll get a turnaround into wave 3. So for Monday, just watch that support level 113.50. It looks like price, well, the overnight, it'll be decided probably in the overnight over in Japan anyway. So Sunday night, it looks like we'll get a sell-off into support again. If that happens, you know, we're still sitting pretty because wave 3 should come in then, and we should get a rally up into the target for wave 3 is about 115.70. So there's a good chance for a good 200-point rally. Probably by the time Wednesday is finished, we'll probably have that all going well. We'll have that in the bag. Okay, so for dollar yen, we just need the kind of the mist to clear around wave 2 pink, and then we'll get that rally into wave 3. Obviously, if we get a further break of resistance there on Monday, it'll favor the initial count here. So we're just looking at that kind of tight band of support resistance here to kind of confirm what the short-term pattern is going to turn out to be. Let's move on. And obviously, excuse me, obviously the Dow has kind of thrown for a loop again, and we had further extensions after further extensions after further extensions. I'm warming to the idea of an ending diagonal here again. I'll just go over that with you. It's not complete. This final wave 5, is just not complete yet. Initially, we might have. Well, I'll let you know what's shown on the chart here is a kind of a running flat pattern. So 3 waves in A, 3 waves in B, and it's a running flat, complex running flat, if that's what you want to call it. Most likely 3 waves in C. So 1, 2, and 3 waves in C. So it's a weird beast of a pattern there. It's corrective, so you can definitely call it wave 4. And then we had a nice impulse to a new high again, which is failing around this previous resistance. So the momentum, I was mentioning the momentum situation there on Friday. Let's go through that momentum situation. So we have divergence, very clear divergence on the daily chart. Of like it must be a 15-year, or I think it was a 20-year high in the RSI reading that I was reading there the other week. Let's get rid of that. So we have an extreme high in RSI, and now we have RSI divergence to the downside, along with further new highs in the price. So we've got a clear divergence happening there on the daily chart, and this should not be. Don't make the mistake of ignoring this, because I think this could be like the precursor of the completion of this final wave here. So let's get into the 4-hour chart. We've got a clear divergence there on the 4-hour chart, new highs in price, declining and lower high here in RSI. So again, an extreme high in RSI there in the middle. And to be honest, that new count, I suppose, does reflect peak momentum in the middle of this third wave here. So we had that peak momentum, let me scribbly lines, peak momentum situation in the middle of that third wave there. And now we've got a nice divergence to the downside and lower high and possible development of a momentum signal here, a bearish momentum signal on the 4-hour chart. So from the completion of that high, we had this real upset and very corrective looking kind of choppy action. So that we're calling that wave 4, and possibly now we'll get into the short-term chart. We get a completion in wave 5. So here's our wave 4, as I was talking about earlier. This possible running flat, or the alternate count here of wave 4 complete at this low, and now maybe we have an ending diagonal. So again, I'm not interested in this market and trading to the upside at all. The big money will be made on the downside when that happens, because it will happen. I'm of the opinion that we're so close to it now that it's just not. It's time to be very vigilant. I know I am anyway. I think the ending diagonal situation here could be 3 waves in 1, 3 waves in 2, 3 waves in 3, 3 waves in 4, 3 waves, well, yet to complete 3 waves in 5. So what's actually happening is quite unclear, but the possibilities are all the different possibilities are all pointing in the same direction, and that is this market is topping. The momentum situation is turning to the downside. The Elliott wave patterns are all but complete, and of course we've got a picture of extreme bullishness and extreme positive social mood across. Just look out your window, across the financial media, across the popular media. Just a very large picture of extreme in social mood, and along with all our other signals, it's pointing to a top here. All we have to do is just to be cognizant of that fact and be ready for it. Okay, so here we have gold. This is the 4-hour chart, and this obviously has been the pain of my existence, the bane of my existence over the last few weeks. We had this initial spike to the upside, which I had possibly, which had counted quite well as a 5-wave pattern. In hindsight, given the fact that we've had such a kind of elongated and extended correction off that high, it should have, I suppose, rang bells far quicker than it did. But I think I've just accepted the fact now that this correction off the recent high of 1350s, 1357 I think it was, is an elongated and extended wave 2. So we had a wave 1 high here, and it looks like we're probably getting excuse me, a second wave, wave 2 green, and it should break support, and we should get prices down into the 12, probably 1220 region, or maybe 1230. It might peter out before that, but you can see here on the 4-hour chart, the 200 period moving average is again kind of, it's flattening out. So we might get a small break of support and a shallower wave C than what you might think is suggested by the trend channel here. So for next week, the new wave count, this alternate wave count, does see a break of support here at 1261 as most likely. Let's get into the hourly chart here, and we'll probably see a break of that support in a 5-wave pattern, and we might see it down into possibly the mid 1220s. I'm kind of, given the momentum situation, I'm kind of I'm shifting towards the idea that we'll get quite a shallow wave C here. So obviously that's to be kind of thrashed out over the next week or so. I think this new wave count, it's the best fit for the moment. I still have kind of reservations about it, but just given the fact that this gold has flatlined and it hasn't shown any positive pop to the upside or push to the upside over the last week, I'm thinking that this is probably the best way to view it. So we've had a series of 3-wave patterns. So this is kind of turning out to be a triple combination wave. We'll probably get another push to the downside over the next week into, obviously, like I said, the 1220 regions, 1225 maybe, or something like that. So for next week in gold, a break of support early on, probably Monday, and we'll kind of track it from there. We'll see how this this pattern develops. This could be, this could be again more complete than I've shown it right now. We could have wave 1, 2, and we might even be into wave 3 here on the short term, and we get a 5-wave pattern down like that. Initially, we just got to look at support and see how this the break of support here happens, and then we look for again signs of a turn to the upside, like we've been fooled into thinking that this previous pop to the upside here was. And then we start again, because the larger pattern still calls for a very large run up in a wave 3 of 3 of 3, if that's the way you want to look at it. So we've got a third wave in blue labels here, a third wave in red labels, and a third wave in green labels. So 3 of 3 of 3. So we should see quite a large acceleration to the upside under this scenario. So that's we're waiting for the signal for it to get off and get on the road. But when it does, I think it will impress. I'm pretty sure it will. All right, let's move on to crude. I'll show you what was my thinking there previously. I had imagined this fourth wave here as breaking out into a larger 3-wave pattern, a flat correction probably over Thursday and Friday. Initially, we did get a move up to the upper trend line and then a decline again, but that decline stalled, and then we got a nice impulse rally again. So wave 4 turned out to be the previous low, and we had to discard the larger flat correction idea here, which was going to look something like that, and then a rally into wave 5. But what's actually happened is wave 4 has been short and sharp, and from that point we've had a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, and a shoot up in wave 5 there on Friday. So we had a longer term or sorry, a medium term target there set at 56.40, and we were approaching that at this point. Excuse me. We're approaching that at this point, 55.80. We ended up there on or in or around 55.80 on Friday evening. So Monday looks bright for the moment. We might get a short correction and another push into the Fibonacci extension there at 56.40 to complete that larger 5-wave pattern, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave 3 brown. So then we'll have wave 1 brown complete, wave 2 brown complete, and wave 3 brown completed. Let's go on to the 4-hour chart here now and see where we're standing. So out of the finish of this large triangle here in wave B green, we're looking for a 5-wave pattern. So we had 1, 2 in blue labels, and now we're on the third wave. So we may well be approaching the completion of that third wave, as I was saying. So then we'll get a slight correction and then a further rally into above, well, probably close to the $60 level before this larger wave 3. I'll show you here. Before this larger wave 3 completes, I think we'll be up at $60. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, and then a further 4 and 5. So we're just cycling through the waves of this 5-wave pattern to the upside, and then that'll complete wave C green. If we go over to the daily chart, and I'll show you that. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll complete wave C, green, of 4. And then the larger 3-wave pattern will be complete. And my dog is going mental outside for some silly reason, as usual. So we're moving into this acceleration phase in wave C. So we'll probably get a break of the previous wave B high. We're just actually sitting at that right now. The previous internal wave B here in that contracting triangle. So that's significant enough to the point that it'll probably lead to a kind of a further acceleration to the upside. After we have we've cycled through these yeah, there's the 56 level there. I'll get rid of that. After we've cycled through these internal wave 4s and we start getting into wave 5, so we'll have wave 3 complete soon enough. We'll get wave 4 and then we'll get wave 5 of wave 3, and that should push us up into the low 60s area. So for next week, concentrate on the short term here for the moment. For the next week, we will see wave 3 brown probably complete by the end of the week. There is another short-term interpretation of this pattern here, which might suggest a slightly higher completion of wave 3. Like we could have 1, 2, and then wave 3 breaking out into 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll get 3, 4, and 5. If you can follow that. But for the short term, you know, it's splitting hairs really. We'll see slight correction further high into the Fibonacci target there around 56.50, and it might pop above the trend line and give us 57 before completing. So for Monday, possible short-term correction, maybe half the trading day, and then another pop to the upside. But we'll see how this this pattern closes out by Monday evening. We might see a completion of wave 5, but we'll see. Obviously, it's the larger pattern is working quite well. Shorter term is always, you know, up in the air, and you just have to kind of fly by the seat of your pants basically, and make your best guess as the trading day is unfolding. So so far so good. We've got wave 3 height, the target for wave 3 inside, and then we'll start looking for wave 4. So I think that runs through the 6 markets pretty comprehensively. We'll see over the next few days how we get the completion of these larger patterns, and we'll see where the opportunities lie to see if we can ride those waves. Okay, guys and gals, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a safe one, and we'll see you again on Monday evening. Bye-bye.